You always hear me state on this channel that pathological narcissists are people that are rooted in their shame and they are unable to move past their pride. And this is also called the third dimension, or you can call this victim abuser consciousness, which essentially means that they are stuck in their lower ego development. So understand that all they have access to at an emotional capacity, at a consciousness level, are based between shame and pride. So nothing else exists. So they are empathy impaired because they do not have access to empathy. Empathy is associated with love and compassion and love, and those higher vibration emotions are all the way up there in the 500s, where pathological narcissism as an energy spectrum operates below the line of courage. So it is below the line of 200. So they do not have the ability to access the fourth dimension or higher. They do not have access to rational thinking or higher. And rational thinking is represented by the green area here on the Hawkins scale. So you may see terms, for example, DARVO. And DARVO is an acronym standing for deny, attack, and reverse the victim and offender roles, right? DARVO, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. And this is a manipulation tactic often employed by individuals, including narcissists, when faced with accountability or accusations. So understand that DARVO, the clinical term, is victim abuser consciousness. It is describing someone that is based in shame and they're unable to move past their pride. DARVO is describing someone that is stuck in the third dimension. So that is what we're going to be delving into here in today's video. If you are new, welcome to the channel. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Shika is the name, and here we talk about pathological narcissism, personal development, spirituality, and raising your awareness. When it comes to DARVO, DARVO is a defensive and offensive strategy that seeks to shift blame and portray the accuser as the wrongdoer. This psychological maneuver can be complex and emotionally distressing for those on the receiving end. So let me provide you with a quick overview of DARVO. So first up, you have deny. At the core of DARVO is denial. When confronted with an allegation or wrongdoing, the first step is for the perpetrator to deny any culpability. This denial might be explicit or implicit, but the goal is to reject responsibility for the actions. Next up, you have attack. Following denial, the manipulator launches an attack. This attack is often directed towards the accuser. It can take various forms, such as questioning the accuser's credibility, motivations, or mental state. The intent is to discredit the accuser and create doubt in the minds of others. And next up, you have reverse victim and offender. So the final stage of DARVO involves flipping the roles of victim and offender. The manipulator portrays themselves as the victim, suggesting that they are unfairly targeted or mistreated. This reversal aims to garner sympathy and support from those who may be observing the situation. So when it comes to DARVO, there are three psychological mechanisms at play, and number one is projection. DARVO involves projecting one's own guilt or wrongdoing onto the accuser. So by attacking the accuser's character, the manipulator deflects attention from their own actions. Next, you have evading empathy. So by portraying themselves as the victim, then the manipulator seeks to avoid accountability and evoke empathy from others. Next, you have gaslighting, one of the pathological narcissist's favorite manipulation tactic. And the denial phase of DARVO can include gaslighting, where the manipulator distorts or denies facts to make the accuser question their own reality. So when we are talking about DARVO, we are talking about victim abuser consciousness. They really are the same thing. So when I say that pathological narcissists are based in shame, understand that the shame here is pathologically low self-esteem. Self-esteem so low that they would probably have to look up to see it. And when we're using the term pathology, understand that a pathology is the study of a disease or a disorder. So they have dysfunctional shame. And this shame is not something that they are facing. They actually are running from their shame, but they get to pride, and pride cometh before the fall. So they fall right back down to shame. And this is why they are stuck in the third dimension. They are stuck in victim abuser consciousness, or they cannot develop past their lower ego. Again, we are talking about a type of arrested development here. So the reason why you cannot hold pathological narcissists accountable is because they are not capable of accountability. And here is why. So let's talk quickly about apologies. So let's say you make a mistake. So let's say, for example, I accidentally step on your shoes, right? I made a mistake. So an apology is a regretful acknowledgement of an offense or failure. A regretful acknowledgement of an offense or failure. So a regretful acknowledgement is acknowledging one's guilt, and guilt is related to a behavior, right? Shame is directed at the self, but guilt is related to a behavior. And the behavior here would be that I accidentally stepped on your shoes. And being regretful is showing true remorse. But when it comes to pathological narcissist people, pathological narcissists are incapable of true remorse. So they are running from their shame, but also they do not like to face their guilt. So this is why you see them repeat inappropriate behavior. So oftentimes you will see where in intimate relationships, for example, they are serial cheaters because they're not really regretful or remorseful. They are incapable. So they will run from their shame, and they will also run from their guilt. And again, eventually they'll get to pride, and pride comes before the fall, and they will fall right back down to shame. So a true, sincere apology is a regretful acknowledgement of an offense or failure. Now, when we're talking about pride as it relates to pathological narcissists, this is also dysfunctional pride. It is dysfunctional shame, it is dysfunctional guilt, it is dysfunctional desire, it is dysfunctional anger, right? This is why they throw narcissistic rage fits, which are adult tantrums, right? And their pride is also dysfunctional. So when I say that they are based in shame and they cannot move past their pride, this is not healthy pride like taking pride in your work. It is dysfunctional pride. So you're dealing with people that believe that they are grandiose and superior to you. So they believe that they are perfect. And understand this, people. Perfect people do not need to change. And pride cometh before the fall, and they fall right back down to shame. So pathological narcissists are incapable of giving you a true apology because they are stuck in the third dimension. Because here's the thing. If I accidentally stepped on your shoe and I needed to give you a sincere apology, not a fake apology, a sincere apology where this is a regretful acknowledgement of an offense or failure, then I would have to acknowledge my failure. But when it comes to pathological narcissists, again, they believe in their mind that they are perfect and they don't make any mistakes. And this is why they want you to adjust yourself to their abuse. Because in order for someone to give you a sincere apology, they must be able to access the fourth dimension. They must be able to put down their pride, to let go of pride, to get to courage, to be accountable. Pathological narcissists do not have access to the fourth dimension because it takes courage enough to be vulnerable, enough to be accountable. It takes courage to say, hey, I messed up. Hey, I failed here, which is accidentally stepping on somebody's shoe. Again, it takes courage to do that, and pathological narcissists do not have access to courage. They do not have access to the fourth dimension. And in the fourth dimension or higher is where you will get things like accountability and camaraderie. You do not have access to that in the third dimension. What you find in the third dimension are victims and abusers. So when pathological narcissists get to pride, and pride is the most positive emotion that they have access to, pride cometh before the fall, and they fall right back down to shame. And they have been in this shame pride cycle long before you came into the picture. So you're not going to get a true apology from a pathological narcissist. They are incapable. And when you truly understand what someone's abilities or capabilities are, then you will adjust your sales. DARVO is what pathological narcissists have access to. Again, they're based in shame and they cannot move past their pride. So they're not going to admit their wrongdoings. They're going to blame this off on you. They are going to reverse the roles of victim and offender because they are incapable of giving you accountability. They do not have access to the fourth dimension. They are stuck in dimensions 1, 2, and 3. They're stuck in victim abuser consciousness because they do have a type of psycho-spiritual arrested development. So understand that what clinicians are calling DARVO is the third dimension. It is describing someone that did not develop past their lower ego. And this is why they will deny what they have done. They will attack you and reverse the roles of victim and offender. This is what they have access to. You cannot hold a pathological narcissist accountable. They do not have accountability to give to you. They do not have courage to give to you. They do not have neutrality to give to you. They do not have love to give to you. They do not have empathy to give to you. They are empathy impaired. What they do have access to is whatever lies between shame and pride, which are a vast variety of negative emotions. So there is a common misconception that narcissists do not have emotions. They do have emotions. They have access to a vast variety of negative emotions. And pride, dysfunctional pride, is the most positive emotion that they have access to. And when you truly understand this, folks, you will adjust your sales because you cannot build with a pathological narcissist. They embody destructive energy. Whenever they make a fault, and again, this could be accidental, they're not going to admit it. They're going to DARVO you because, again, at best, they get to pride. And pride cometh before the fall. So they're going to fall right back down to shame. They are incapable of acknowledging their own failure. They do not have the ability. So it's like saying that you need someone to lift 500 pounds, but the person that you have in front of you can only lift 5 pounds. They do not have the ability to lift 500 pounds. They did not develop that ability. They don't have the ability. It does not exist. So understand that DARVO is a defensive mechanism, but it is also an offensive mechanism. Pathological narcissist people simply do not care. And they do not have care to give. They do not have access to empathy. They are empathy impaired. And there are 4 main characteristics that you can use to identify a pathological narcissist. Now, in order for someone to be diagnosed with NPD, they have to have 5 or more of the traits listed. But these are all based around 4 characteristics. And they are: number 1, that you're dealing with someone that is grandiose and superior. So they believe that they are better than you. Number 2, they require excessive amounts of attention, admiration, and validation. Thirdly, they are empathy impaired, which means that they do not have the capacity to put themselves in the other's shoes. So again, you're going to be dealing with a very cold individual. And finally, they are pathological liars. That is what you are dealing with. So when you're dealing with these personality types, ensure that you are adjusting your sails. And you adjust your sails by getting the courage to walk away and stay away. I say it often here on the channel, you have no business in the third dimension. What you will find in the third dimension, if you get stuck in the third dimension, are victims and abusers. That is what exists at that low vibration. So you stand in your power when you get the courage to walk away and stay away. It is when you get the courage to ascend where you will find healthy, fulfilling, fruitful relationships. And you'll only have healthy, fulfilling, fruitful relationships with people that can access the fourth dimension or higher. You won't find this in the third dimension. These individuals do not have the ability. And that really is the quick message for today, kind folks. Remember, if you do need someone to talk to, if you are going through narcissistic abuse, or if you need help with your recovery, you can definitely reach out to me. I've been where you are, lost, confused, and seeking a way out. However, understand that healing from narcissistic abuse is absolutely possible. So if you are ready to rewrite your story, let's connect. Understand that your journey begins with that courageous first step. So that courageous first step could mean reaching out to a coach. And also that courageous first step is getting the courage to walk away and stay away from these toxic personality types. So remember that you are not alone. Help is absolutely available. I've got your back, and all of the other survivors in the comment section have your back. So that is where we are ending off here in today's video, kind folks. Ensure that you are pouring into yourself all of that love and kindness and compassion. Go ahead and pour that back into yourself to revitalize your energy. And this is how you heal. You heal by getting the courage to ascend, because peace is on the other side of abuse. You won't find peace in the third dimension. Peace is a high vibration energy. So again, adjust your sails and get the courage to walk away and stay away. Thank you so much for your continued support. Ensure that you are liking these videos. Ensure that you are subscribed for more empowering content. Go ahead and share these videos with someone that you think may need them. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Shika is the name. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.